If our computer is a new computer and is a member of a workgroup, file and printer sharing is disabled. We will not be able to share folders and printers until we first enable sharing. For computers on a domain, sharing is automatically enabled. The recommended method to enable sharing is to run the Network Setup Wizard. Go to the Control panel, click on the Network Setup Wizard, and click Next. We have to ensure that we have installed Network Card, turn on all computers, printers, and that we have connected to the Internet. Click Next. In our example, we are connected to the Internet Trough Local Area connection. We will use the existing connection. Click Next. Here we can enter computer description and change computer name. Click Next. Here we can enter the workgroup name. We will enter workgroup. Click Next. Here we will select Turn on File and Printer Sharing. Click Next. Here we will select to just finish the wizard, and click Next. Click Finish to close the wizard. We can use Windows Explorer to quickly share a folder. Simply right-click the folder, open its properties, and then click Sharing tab. In our case, we will share the Manuals folder, which is located on our E drive. To share a folder, we have to check Share this folder on the network. By default, users are not allowed to change our files. This way, users can only read our files. We will check Allow network users to change my files, and click Apply. Let's click OK. Notice that the icon of the folder is changed. It now indicates that the folder is shared. In this example, the computer is configured to use simple file sharing. If we want more control over file shares, we need to enable advanced sharing. To do this, go to the Tools menu and select Folder Options. Then go to the View tab, scroll down, clear the Use Simple File Sharing checkbox, and click OK. Let's open Sharing Options for Manuals folder again. Now we can share the folder multiple times. Let's add an additional share by clicking on the New Share button. We can share this folder again with a different name. In this example, we will name it Motorcycle Manuals, and click OK. When using advanced sharing, we can set user limits. For example, we can set the maximum number of users to 2 users, instead of 10. Notice that the maximum number of users for the original share name remains at maximum. We can also set different permissions for different share names. First, we have to choose a share name from the drop-down list, and then click on the Permissions button. In our case, everyone can read data in Manuals folder. We can use Shared Folders plugin on Computer Management to manage our shares. This plugin lets us view and manage all of our shared folders from a central location. To take full advantage of shared folders, our computer needs to have advanced sharing enabled. Let's select Shares to see all shared folders on our system. Here we can view and edit shared folder properties, such as user limits and permissions. For example, if we open the properties for Manuals, on the General tab we can edit the number of users allowed to connect. On the Share Permissions tab we can edit the share permissions. On the Security tab we can edit the NTFS permissions. Let's click OK. Now, let's create a new share. To create new share, right-click Shares, select New File Share, and click Next. Now, we need to specify a folder to share. We can browse to find the folder that we want to share. In our case, we will select Polliner folder, which is located on East Drive. Now, we need to provide a share name. In our case, we will enter Polliner. We can click Next. Now, we need to decide what type of share permissions to use. In this case, we will use the default setting, in which all users have read access. Click Next, and click Finish to share the folder. Notice that the folder has been successfully shared. The Sessions folder shows us who is connected to our computer right now. Notice that the user admin is currently connected to our computer. In Open Files we can see which files are accessed by which user. Let's say that we want to stop sharing Manuals folder. We can right-click Manuals folder, select Stop Sharing, and click Yes to confirm. There are many ways to connect to a shared folder on another computer. For example, we can go to the Start menu and use the Run command. From here we can type in the syntax to the share. This approach uses the UNC syntax or Universal Naming Convention syntax. We want to connect to the share named public on a computer named Version. The UNC path to that share is Version public. When we open Shared folder, we can go to the Tools menu, and map a network drive. We have to select the drive letter that we want to use, and we have to enter the UNC path to the share. In our case we will select the Z drive, and enter the Version public as our UNC path. Notice that our share is now Z drive. We can find shares by browsing the network neighborhood. Let's go to the Control panel, Network Connections, and select My Network Places from the left menu. Here we can see all shared folder in a workgroup. We can also see workgroup computers by clicking on the View Workgroup Computers from the menu on the left. Let's open Version Computer. Let's map a drive with different username this time. Right-click Public, and select Map Network Drive. This time the UNC path is already entered. The drive letter will be Y this time. Let's select Connect using a different username. The username will be Kim Version this time. Click OK, and click Finish. We will get an error. We cannot map the same share with different drive letter, and with different user credentials. If we want to map the same share with different credentials, we have to disconnect existing network drive. To do that, go to the My Computer, right-click Network Drive, and select Disconnect. We can also map a network drive by right-clicking My Computer, and selecting Map Network Drive. Through share permissions we can control who will have access to our shares. These apply specifically to the network users. The share permissions can be on both NTFS and FAT partitions. There are 3 levels of share permissions. Those are Full Control, Change and Read. Full Control gives us full control over all of the attributes of that particular share. It allows us to modify files, to take ownership, and to change permissions of that particular share. The change permission allows users to do anything with the files inside the share. The read permission allows users to read and execute the contents of the files that are in the shared folder. With share permission we also have an allow and deny attribute. The deny attribute explicitly denies particular permission. Deny will always override the allow permission. This is useful when, for example, some user is a member of multiple groups, and we want to deny particular permission only for that particular user. For local users, only NTFS permissions are applied. When a user accesses our shares over network, both share permissions and NTFS permissions are applied to him. Let's take a look at share permissions on Manuals folder. At this point, everyone can read data in Manuals folder. We will add accounting group to the ACL, and give it full control permission. To do that, click Add, type in Accounting, click Check Names, and click OK. The default permission is the read permission, so we had to check full control permission manually. Click OK to finish. Share permissions only restrict network access, while NTFS permissions restrict both local and network access. Through NTFS permissions we can set permissions more precisely. The most restrictive permission will always be used to control network access. This is true for both share and NTFS permissions.